Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another 6 minutes of meaning. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a beautiful Shabbat and weekend. And we continue with a little dose of inspiration, hopefully. I would like to speak about those moments, as has been this entire course, those moments where we struggle, where we feel somewhat overcome by the negative voices within our heads, and try to do the right thing and yet find ourselves held back. What could be some antidote? What could be the advice? What could be ways in which we can overcome and struggle against and even succeed in those small quiet voices in the back of our heads telling us to do something which we'd rather not? There is a beautiful passage in the Talmud, a very short passage, 2 lines, that says as follows. There was once a small city with very few people living inside of it. A great king came and surrounded it and built fortifications. A poor but wise person found the city, saw it under siege, and rescued the entire city by his wisdom alone. That's the end of the Talmud. Fascinating. What does it mean? What might that mean? In a stunning commentary, the Maharal of Prague offers the following suggestion. He says the small city is, can you guess? The small city is a person's body. The few people living inside, very small population, are the person's limbs. And the great king who comes and surrounds it and lays siege to it is the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, the voice inside of us, always prompting us and suggesting that we do the wrong thing. The fortification that he builds around the city are all of our mistakes. Fascinating, right? Really amazing. Who is the poor yet wise individual? The poor yet wise individual is the Yetzer Hatov, the voice inside of us, prompting us and willing us to do the right thing. And what is his wisdom? Do good deeds. And it is through the act of doing good deeds that we are able to save the city. There is so much here. It's really amazing. Why is the evil inclination, the Yetzer Hara, that voice inside of us telling us to do the wrong thing, why is it described as a king? And I'd like to suggest that it's described as a king because a king is in control of his subjects. The Yetzer Hara always wants to be in control. And we see this so powerfully in the areas of our lives where we want to be in control. There are many, many areas where things have to be and go according to exactly the plan that we have to have them go according to. And when they don't, what happens? We get angry. What is the root of a person's anger? Something happened that I did not like. But it's not just that I did not like. Something happened that I didn't want it to happen the way that it happened. My kids are screaming. The house is a mess. I've been set up and I'm late for a meeting where my day is very tightly scheduled. Something has happened and I don't want that disruption. And we fall into the fallacy of thinking that we are in control. And when something doesn't happen the way it should, anger is a response to our loss of control. Amazingly, the Torah calls anger and our responses of expressing our anger idolatry. What's the connection? Why should our expression of anger be likened to idolatry? It's very, very straightforward. Because We are not in control. We might think we are. We make certain choices. We have the freedom of will to make the moral decisions as they are placed in front of us. But in the big scheme of world events, we are not in control. God is in control. Hashem is part of this picture. And when we express anger because your guests that you've invited, if you can remember once upon a time. Do you remember once upon a time where we were allowed guests in our houses? Montreal is still in the red zone and no one's allowed in our homes. But once upon a time when we invited guests to our homes and they were late, we were angry, we got frustrated. If your banking is very tightly regulated and your spouse decides to make an expenditure and not tell you about it, we lose control. If you have an important business meeting in another city and you leave enough time to make sure you get to the airport on time and then your plane is sitting on the tarmac, we get angry. We have lost control. And yet we are taught getting angry is idolatry because we think that there isn't a God in this world. We think that we run the world. We think everything should be the exact way that it should be. And that's why not only is losing our control and anger called idolatry, but fascinatingly, the Yetzer Hara itself is called the king who loves control. This is a step into a fascinating new world of what it means to fight and struggle against those inner voices and to remember what it is that can save us from ourselves. More to be continued next week. Have a great day, everybody.